What's going on YouTube? Ross's Reef bringing y'all another update of the Nuvo Fusion 20-gallon reef tank. This update, guys, is about a 6.5-month update, almost 7. In about 2 weeks on March 5th, I will be going to that coral show that I've been telling y'all about here. We'll be looking to stock up on some coral, maybe get some new zoanthids, maybe a couple acans. What I'm looking for is going to be able to get my first clam. And then I'm gonna maybe look at a Scully or a Lobo or something like that. I really want a good, nice centerpiece coral. If some of y'all remember, I did have that beautiful plate fungi, but something happened to it. I explained in the other video that I'm pretty sure that it was from it being constantly pelted from the MP10, and it didn't like the flow pattern, so it did not make it. So I am looking for another piece to serve as my centerpiece. Did go ahead and move some stuff around, guys. Just want to show y'all that real quick. I did upload a video recently saying how I want to remove the pistol shrimp, and I think I still do. He and the Watchman Goby are now kind of back under their original hole, and if they stay over there, they can stay in. But I was getting really tired of him going all over here, digging up under the green star polyp, throwing sand on the fobia, digging trenches over here. It was just getting to be too much. Sand was flying everywhere. My corals would close up because the sand particles in there, they just didn't like it. It was getting to be a mess. So he's getting one more shot. So far they've kind of stayed in the back over there and haven't done too much. So we'll see how that goes. But I did kind of re-level the sand in the tank and everything like that, and replace the corals where I want them. I did move this little Monty. It was right over here on the bottom. It never really got good light there, guys. I mean, as you can see, the polyps are now coming out right now, but they look like crap, honestly. So this coral really needed to be moved and put under some high light. So I stuck it right there for now. I don't know where I'm gonna stick it, because it does need a good amount of light, and it was getting shaded by this hammer coral right here, and that just wasn't working out. So we'll see. Hopefully it can recover up there for maybe a week or two, and then we'll find it a more permanent spot and higher lighting. Acans, just want to show you all that. They're doing really good. Got some heads up front, I think about 3 or 4, and then we got those 2 main second ones. Let me wait until the water dies down, the flow, and then y'all can probably see. There you go, you can see them right there, the 2 heads on the back, looking really good. Did go ahead and mount that Mystic Monty that I got right there as a more permanent spot. Maybe would have liked to save that spot for I want to get a green plating coral, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to find another spot for that green plate. I don't know where, possibly over here somewhere, like right there, or somewhere down here. I don't know. But I really want to get a green plate because I do have the red plate back here. I've got this orangish, pinkish plate, the purple plate, and then I got this Hollywood plate right here. So I really like the plates. They make really cool formations. This orangish pink one here, guys, is just growing massively since when I got it. I mean, that coral has grown faster than this plate that's been in here, like much longer, and it's just, the formation that it's making right now is really cool with those 3 layers on it. I really can't wait till that gets nice and big. That'll look really good in this tank. So really happy with that it's doing good there. Bird's nest doing really good. You know, it's growing and growing. I went back and looked at an old video, I think I told y'all, and this thing was so small, guys, so small. And now it's beautiful, it's massive, and it's looking good. It's actually encrusting on the rock next to it right there because it's finally touching it. Pulse and Zinnia still looking good. You know, they're full. Always got new stalks coming out on that. If it gets too full and big, I do frag them up and sell them a little bit. Bubble coral still doing good. These flower pot corals, they're actually the tissue is actually encrusting more so on the skeleton, so I'm happy about that. I'm getting growth on that. I watched a video, and I don't know how long ago that was published. It was by Tidal Gardens or something, and they were saying how these are actually really hard to keep, and you know, they are a slow growing coral. I've seen colonies, you know, like this big, that sell for $100 something up. and I got this one for decently cheap, I think like 20 bucks. So, you know, it'll grow and hopefully it'll do good. I did move the Duncan coral. It was over here, guys, and it's actually doing really good for a while over there. I don't know what stopped it. I don't know if the pistol shrimp or someone kept bugging it with the sand. It does not like getting sanded, and so, you know, we moved it over here. I might even try to move it up here in the higher light to see if it'll open back up and start growing again. I need to maybe find a place on the rock work for it, because I'm getting tired of it constantly getting sand kicked on it right when it starts opening up, and then it closes up for like a week or two, and then it just starts to open back up, and then it closes up again. So I did go ahead and kind of clean off that rock. I pulled the rock up of the green star polyps a little bit. That way, you know, hopefully the green star polyps can grow a little bit better. Plus, I like being able to see the rock and everything under there. What else we got? What else? Nothing much. Just did a kind of cleaning today. Cleaned off the spin streams, the MP10. My innovative marine desktop protein skimmer stopped working for a little while. Didn't know what was going on, so I took it apart, and for some reason just the pinwheel got stuck or something. There was like hardly any calcification or anything, so I was like, what the heck's going on? So I actually just kind of wiggled the pinwheel a little bit, and it started right back up and worked. Might have had a tiny little piece of calcification, just stuck just right. So remember, guys, keep your pumps clean. I always do. Don't wait until you need to clean your pump. When it stops working, do a solid cleaning schedule. You do not want to have to stop what you're doing one day and take care of a pump cleaning when you don't have to. Make time in your schedule for cleaning your pumps. It'll save you a headache down the road. Everything runs much smoother. It's much more stable. Just do your maintenance, guys. That's the biggest thing to have a successful tank. Someone asked me, you know, one of my subscribers, I replied to him. I never got a reply back to see if that helped, but he asked me about, he's got this same tank, and he's just got a few coral in there, and he wanted to know about maintaining the calcium and alkalinity levels. Someone else had asked me what I do for that as well, so I'm going to kind of address that in this video. There are a couple things you can do, guys, to maintain your calcium and alkalinity levels, depending on how stocked your tank is and what type of corals you have stocked. Now, for those of you who have maybe just a couple softies, you know, like the Kenya tree over there, and not too much stuff that requires, it has a skeleton more so. You know, it's like this bird's nest has a skeleton. The pulsing zinnia right down here does not. The Kenya tree does not. This acan even has a skeleton, you know. Those are types of things that really suck up calcium. You can maintain, I've heard you can maintain your calcium levels simply by doing water changes. If, and I do say if, you are using a salt mix that replenishes those elements, such as Red Sea Coral Pro Salt. I know that's a very highly liked coral salt. It dissolves very well. It's got tons of calcium, alkalinity, magnesium, all those trace elements in the salt itself. Even what's the other one? The reef crystals by Ocean something or whatever. I actually use that brand. I can't even think of the brand name. The reef crystals actually have, they say, that it replenishes the calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. I currently am using the Ocean Director, something. It does not, it's not the reef crystals, which I wish I would have now spent the extra money. It was $10, guys. I was being cheap. I wish I would have just bought it, because when I do my water changes, I'm technically taking calcium and alkalinity out the water, because when I add fresh water, those fresh mixed salt water, that does not have any calcium and alkalinity. So, you know, my levels kind of drop when I do a water change. But if I was using a salt that had those elements already in it, I would simply just be changing out the salt and possibly more so even adding calcium and alkalinity to the system, which, you know, calcium and alkalinity is what maintains these corals, guys. So it all depends basically how heavily stocked your tank is, if you can do that. Another thing you can do to maintain calcium alkalinity, especially for a tank like mine where it's pretty heavily stocked, you need to implement some kind of dosing. Whether you're doing Kalkwasser, which I personally don't use, I prefer individual dosages of each individual element, calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium all by themselves. I like to dose it that way. I have a good little doser. I did a review on the Giabo. It was a cheap doser to implement. I like it a lot. I have not had any problems, knock on wood. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, holds its calibration doses on time every day. It maintains my calcium and alkalinity exactly how I want it. If I notice whenever I add a new coral or two in that my calcium is dropping, I just bump it up because those corals are now sucking up more calcium than I was normally having. So I maintain my calcium and alkalinity and magnesium levels. Calcium is at 420 normally. That's what I strive for. That's kind of the universal recommendation. My alkalinity, I keep around, I'd say, minimum 10 DKH. Alkalinity is kind of a debated topic of what you can keep it as. I've seen people say anywhere from basically 9 DKH all the way up to 12, but some people probably go below that and above that. It's just 9 to 12 is kind of the standard. I keep mine almost right in the middle of that, anywhere from 10 to 11. Also, when you increase your alkalinity, you're increasing your pH in your tank. My pH, I don't know if it's directly... I had a problem, guys, if y'all remember who's been with me in the beginning. My pH, God, would just go low and low and low. I couldn't keep it up. I was fighting it 24/7. I did finally implement that little bottle back there hooked up to my protein skimmer is called soda ash. That keeps your pH up by... What it does is it removes the CO2 in the air coming into your tank. So less CO2 means you get a higher pH. CO2 makes water acidic. So the more CO2 you have in there, the higher the acidity, which is... And I know you're thinking, some people who may not know, the higher the acidity, the lower the pH. So you want to maintain a pH of around 8.3. That's kind of a really good thing. Mine basically goes anywhere from 8.2 to 8.4. Stays right around 8.3 most of the time. When the doser just doses alkalinity, maybe for a couple hours after that, it's kind of right at 8.4, but it pretty much stays around 8.3 for the most of the time. So really happy with that. I'm gonna have to move this coral right here, guys. It's getting stung by this rose bubble tip back there. It's that rose bubble tip. Let's see if I can get you all a look. It's really doing really good. That's the one that I used to have over here in this corner in the very beginning, and it actually split into 3. I have this main big one right here, and then I have this other decently sized one now. It's coming along right here because I've been able to feed it, and then I have this small one that's just not doing good. If it opens back up, it's that thing right there. For some of y'all who don't see it, yeah, it's completely closed. If I can get it to open back up, I'm going to start trying to feed it some mysis shrimp to make it grow, because it's just basically surviving with the light. Those anemones do need nourishment. They do need meaty foods to survive. They're not like coral. They can't just survive off the calcium alkalinity. Coral do better when you feed them. That's a debated topic, but I do feed my coral, and I do think that they benefit from it. You definitely need to feed an anemone, guys. If you want it to survive, you need to feed it at least every 3 days, probably. So, yeah, just keep up with that, and your anemone should do good. Just kind of jumbling around now, guys. So I'm going to end this video. The T5 lighting, I don't really know if it's adding or doing anything, but I'm going to keep it on. Haven't noticed a huge difference. I haven't noticed more extension on my coral. I haven't noticed, anything too drastic, but it's not hurting anything, so I'm definitely going to keep it on. I did also, during the peak hours of the day, from around 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., I did go ahead and actually raise the intensity of my lighting by 5% during that time, and then I also made it to where I believe it was around 15K was the max, on the Kelvin scale, but now it's around 10K. So peak day, hopefully I get a little bit more growth light coming out of this LED. I decided to change that up. We'll see how it works. So yeah, guys, this has been Ross's Reef. This is like a 15-minute update. Just wanted to give y'all this. Haven't done a really big one in a while. I've been doing a bunch of small ones. So hope y'all enjoyed the update. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, guys. I like hearing all y'all's feedback. I love answering y'all's questions. I've reached over 100 subscribers. I want to thank all y'all for that. So this has been Ross's Reef. I will see y'all later.